Sharon Herrea or Herrera, whatever you're comfortable pronouncing. Sharon is fine with me. So am I looking at the camera or looking at you?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. So the first question: do you identify yourself as a Latina?
Yes.
Where and when were you born?
I was born in San Angelo, Texas, 1963, October 15th.
Who were your parents and siblings?
My parents were Juanita Montes Herrera and Frank Montes Herrera. I have four siblings, 3 brothers and a sister. I was left at the hospital at 3 days old, and my grandmother adopted me. So I was raised by my grandmother, my mother's mother, and which I had never found out I was adopted, but I did later on in life. My mama was everything to me, mother, father, whatever. And there was 3 uncles living in the household, so I was one of those spoiled kids that had everything. And the first time I saw the TV show Dallas, and you probably don't know anything about it, Dallas with Jerry Ewing, is when I realized, hey, I want to get out of this town. So I wanted to leave San Angelo early on.
Okay. You said you were adopted by your grandma and your mom.
Yes.
So would you prefer answering this for her or your parents? But what did they do for a living?
My parents are really, I don't think my mother ever worked. Dad moved to California, I was told, after I was born or before I was born. I don't really know. My mama, she was not a housewife, but she didn't work by the time I came into the picture. She was 55 years old. So her job was to raise me and loved me unconditionally.
Right. What role did religion play in your home?
I was raised Catholic, so I say forced to go to Catholic church, do my communion, my confirmation, and I hated it. I hated dealing with nuns. I hated dealing with having to call a gentleman a father, which didn't make sense to me. And the confession was the hardest thing for me when I was a kid growing up, because I didn't want to tell anybody my stuff, right? When I had a Theo, Uncle Reuben, and he said, Mija, you don't have to tell anybody that. God already knows what you're doing. So he always said, he always kind of deviated from what I was learning in catechism, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I really did not like the Catholic religion, even though it was part of me. But I had a priest tell me I was going to hell because I was gay. So that's why I kind of whoa. I mean, I did all the sacraments I was supposed to do. I love the rituals, the candles, the rosary, I love all of that. The altar, because my grandmother had a little altar at home and we would pray on it. We had the little velitas and stuff. So I love all that. But the fact that a man in that religion told me I was going to hell because I was gay, which led to my suicide attempt at 16, kind of shunned me away from it. So,
Well, with that note, has religion contributed to your success?
Prayer, yes. I do. I don't think it's religion. I think more it's my belief in God, knowing that there's a higher force taking care of me, and that I have those prayers, the things that my grandmother taught me as a child, the belief that there's a higher force, a higher being. I'm always one to say that my boss is not on the second floor. He's much higher and he's watching me 24/7. And I was raised to believe that the way you treat another human being was the ultimate success in life. And she would tell me that a degree, a position, a certificate, whatever I attained, those things were absolutely trash unless I knew how to treat another human being with dignity and respect. So I was raised, to treat people with, I always say my religion is kindness. Kind of like one of my Muhammad Gandhi and all of my people that I respect so much that have gone before me. My religion is kindness. So not really Catholic.
Okay. You said you grew up in San Angelo. Could
Yes.
you describe the neighborhood you grew up in?
Very diverse. I had never experienced discrimination until I moved here to the city of Fort Worth. I was raised near an Air Force base, and therefore it was all rainbows. I had all kinds of friends, and life was good. And then my mother died. My mama, the lady that raised me, died, and I joined the military. So that was the way I was raised. So it just really, I don't know, back to the question, ask me the question again, I'm sorry.
Just describe the neighborhood you
The
grew up in.
neighborhood was very diverse. Everybody knew everybody. I grew up believing that your neighbors were your friends. And friendships were very important. Family was important, but my mom emphasized the importance of friends. And so that's the way I grew up. And then the military intensified that. Because when she died, I kind of ran away from everything. My life really wasn't going anywhere. I was in my first year at college, and I wasn't hanging out with the right people at the age of 19 and 20. So I kind of was deviating. I said, well, when she passed, I used to blame God because I missed her so much. I mean, I was only 20 years old when she passed. But then I realized it was a blessing in disguise because I had a lot of growing up to do.
Who were some of your role models?
Growing up, I started reading about Gandhi. I started reading about Martin Luther King. Later on in life, Harvey Milk. And then I was doing a training. And I always say one of my biggest role models as a kid was Moses. And I don't say that a lot because, my trainings, you have to be neutral during your trainings. But Moses, I just loved his blind faith. And I've always said that. He believed in something that he couldn't see. Something that there was no, something he could touch. But he believed so much that he followed whatever, that voice told him to do. So growing up, it was Moses. And then you read about Gandhi. Then you read about Martin Luther King. Then you read about Harvey Milk. And one time I was doing this training while I was talking about the three people that were, my wife, the three people that were my role models, and then it hit me that they were all assassinated. And it was just such a blow to me. It's like, whoa. And I started crying during my training because all they were trying to do is make this world a better place for people. Mm-hmm. And they were all three assassinated in a very horrible way. But anyway, that's another story.
So you said growing up you were raised Catholic.
Yes.
Where did you go to church?
St. Margaret's Catholic Church, which was just a block from the house. It was near the house.
Near your house.
So, and I remember my grandmother always tidying, and always, even after she didn't go to church anymore, she would tell my aunt to take, here's my tie, here's the needle, to take to church. So yeah, that's where I did my confirmation, my communion, and all that stuff. I did my confirmation kind of late because I was kind of at a rebellious state. I didn't really want to do it, and then my mama, she held the reins, so I had to do it.
And where did you go to school?
I went to Bel Air Elementary, Edison Junior High, and then Central High School, and then Angelo State University. We just recently had a high school reunion, a junior high reunion. After so many years, our junior high was shut down and built as a 9th grade center for Central. So we all just had a huge reunion, very successful reunion, where we got to see all our junior high buddies, and all of those friendships, all those memories just flooded back, and we had such a good time and great connections. So anyway, life is good.
What other community organizations were important to your upbringing?
Growing up, there was I remember there was a Mexican American community where you were asked to be part of, and I remember having to fight my uncle because I didn't want to be part of it, and he kind of shut me out of his life because he said, how can you not be part of this Mexican American thing that's going on in our schools? And I was like, because I don't identify as being, I know I'm Mexican or Latina or whatever everybody wants to call it, but I have so many friends that aren't. So to me, I saw it as further segregation. So it was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this. But you have to understand, he was raised at a time where, he saw a lot of discrimination himself. And he wanted me to help him carry his baggage, which was that hate that he had toward the Anglo people. And I just didn't want to be part of it. I can't continue looking in the rearview mirror of life. You have to move forward. Keep it for caution, just like when you're driving, but don't live in it. So that's how I saw my life. I have to move forward, and I couldn't participate. So.
What is the role of women in public life?
In public life, being a out lesbian and serving students at Fort Worth ISD, because I work for Fort Worth ISD. For me, in the public life, it's very important that students know that I'm here to serve them, that parents know that there's somebody that they can turn to, call for advice or guidance. I can't tell you how many kids in our district and out of our district reach out to me because I am public, I am openly gay, and how many parents have reached out for help, and how many kids I've helped that have been kicked out of the home. So it's very important, especially for me, to be openly gay because of what I attempted at the age of 16. I mean, at the age of 16, I had the Bible in one hand and Drano in the other. I was going to take my life, and I didn't want another child to suffer that way. That's why I designed the organization called LGBTQ Saves, which serves youth. We have monthly social events, which Thanksgiving dinner and a movie, our winter prom, Valentine's dance, and we have summer barbecues every month this summer, because I want to create a safe place for these kids. Our first gay pride parade, we had 7 kids. Now we have over 100, and they come from Crowley, Mansfield, all the surrounding counties, and march with us. And it's just incredible to be there for them. Like I said, I don't want another child to feel the way that I did at 16. I want to save lives. That's all I want to do, and I want to be on the right side of history. And it's like I tell people, I'm not here to change your religious views or whatever. I just don't want. I don't want to be hated. I don't want you to hate. I don't want you to. I don't know if you know the story of the soldier that changed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He was brutally killed in 1992, and it's a horrible story. I'll give you, after this, I'll tell you more about it, but the way he was beaten and killed by 2 individuals was horrible, and it changed the nation. And Clinton, that's why the Don't Ask bill came about, because of that death. And homophobia, and it's just, that's what I want to stop. I don't want to, like I often tell people, there's some things I don't want you to do to me. I don't want you to, it's called thought said and done. Thought, I don't want you to think I hate men, and I don't want you to think I want to be a man. Said, I don't want you to call me a dyke. I don't want you to call me a faggot. My name's Sharon. And done, I don't want to be raped, and I don't want to be killed. So that's just something that I always stress in my trainings. Those are 3 things I don't want you to thought said and done about me. I'm a human being. I'm here to humanize the LGBT community.
And what is the role of women in home life?
Home life, I recently got married. I'm 12, 13, 14 in Las Vegas to my beautiful wife. We met in 1984, first love, first kiss. Life happened, like I said, my mother died. We dated for 6 months, and then life happened, my mother died, and I went into the military. We never saw each other. We never talked again for 30 years. I go back to my high school reunion, and I run into her, Marcel, and all those feelings that I ran away from back then came flooded back. And in 2012, I proposed to her, and we vowed never to be separated again. Home life to me, I'm 100% there. I'm very supportive of what she does. If we were to have kids, which neither one of us want any, because I'm 51, okay, she's 47, and it's if we have kids, great. If not, we don't have kids. It's just to spend every minute that we can, because we wasted so many time. As far as home, very supportive, 100%. Wife. That's never forgetting why we're together, and God is first in our marriage, and then one another, and then friends and family. But that's just that's our belief. God is very, very central to our marriage. He's first, and